Hey gang, welcome to Two Blokes From Down Under. I'm Simon Guthrie. I'm here with my co-host, Mr. Ben Ennis. How are you, Benny?
Fantastic, Simon, and you?
Awesome, man. Ben, season 1, it's a wrap, man. We've done 10 episodes. How good?
Yeah, very exciting.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. We've had some great feedback and some awesome people tell us some good stories and everything, so it's been fantastic.
It was. We had a big variety of guests for the first season.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Just thinking of it, that they're all local people with local talent. It's amazing.
Yeah, and very different.
Yeah. So season 1, obviously, we went from we started off with Gary Jacobson. It's motorsport V8 supercar driver.
Yep.
It's pretty fascinating.
It was for a motor car enthusiast or racing, whatever you want to put it as. Even I learned a few things, and a few people said the same thing.
Yeah, I had numerous people say that they knew a lot about racing, and but learnt so much from his story. So
it'd be interesting to get Gary back. We know that we had more to talk about, but I think there might be even more to talk about.
There might be more to talk about now. So it's obviously he was signed with Subway, and he's lost his ride at the moment. So
well, hopefully he's on to another one. Then we can talk to him.
Hopefully he's got a good car this time. So
I think he can steer. He just needs a good car. So
he can definitely steer. So that was pretty fascinating. It was a great story, and especially when he took us through the hot lap and everything like that.
Yeah.
So if you haven't watched it, you can jump on the YouTube and see. He actually takes us through last year's lap record. I can't remember the guy who was driving.
No, I can't remember who it was, but he talked through that Bathurst lap.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was a great insight. So that was fascinating. So and then we went from motorsport to AFL, and we talked to Paul Brown.
Brownie.
What a funny man.
Oh, if only you could see some of the things that were said off air. But
it was a cracker. He is an absolute cracker of a dude.
It doesn't matter who you talk to. Everyone says the same thing. Lovely gentleman, funny as hell.
Yeah.
But geez, he's always got a good joke and a good story.
He's definitely got some good jokes, and I think it was about an hour 26. He ripped that joke out with the bug. So if you haven't listened to it, go back and have a listen to that one. It's fantastic. But what a career as well. Got to play alongside some of the biggest names in AFL.
Yeah, that was a big era.
Yeah, so it's and stood his own too. 88 games I think for Geelong. So
for sure.
So so it's awesome episode, that one. It was quite fascinating. So
yeah, it's a bit of a favourite for the laughs.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, certainly if you want to listen to a man with no filter, Paul's your man. So it's fantastic, and he's doing great guns with his new business and everything like that now. So
I've got to pop in and see him one day, I think.
Yeah, so he's going really good. And episode 3, we went to the soccer field. So we spoke to Vince Lear. So
that was a bit of an eye opener, I think.
Yeah,
probably for myself and I'd say a few listeners.
For sure.
But he's,
what an unbelievable career, really.
Crazy,
so, the things he's achieved, and I suppose if you're a soccer fan, you would know, but for those who don't sort of know, he's played something like 308 games or something like that.
A lot.
A-League soccer sort of thing. So
and for quite a lot of teams across Australia and New Zealand. So
spent 10 years in Wellington, over New Zealand. So it's pretty cool and good to know the story from when he first started as a 6-year-old, like running around the Tat football park with his kid on from 6 o'clock in the morning until 6 o'clock at night. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, no, that was good. I liked it.
And then we went back to football again. We interviewed Mark Bullen. So
Bully.
Mark, his career he played with Essendon, so 44 games with Essendon or something like that. And but his story, as good as it was, is his lead up to Essendon, like the story afterwards with.
Yeah, that's when it got big.
Yeah, like 12 premierships.
What is it? It's only one of two people in Victoria, 2 people in Australia or something that's even come close to that or achieved that.
I'm not sure, but
it's fairly up there.
Yeah, his coaching career, he went 7 in a row at Deer Park, which was unbelievable.
Madness, and that was with some pretty good company too.
He had some really good footballers, but he did it with some good footballers, but they didn't do it easy in the first year. They certainly did.
Sort of mean though, like tough competition, tough league, and that. So it wasn't hanging out the back block somewhere, just smacking away at some premierships. Right. He was. Yeah,
he did all right. So. It was his was an interesting story again. So as I said on the episode, me and Mark are first cousins, but I knew most of his story. But I even learnt some stuff myself, so it was pretty good.
Yep, very
It's
enjoyable.
pretty intriguing. Episode 5, we went to Adam Toms, something different, singer-songwriter.
Tomsy.
So one of your mates. It's
From way back in the day. So it was good to go back through some of the things that I was involved in, but also listen to his story about, like, 'cause obviously he moved away and a bit went on there that I probably didn't see or hear. So that was good too.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that.
and achieved some great things too along the way. Some Tamworth Country Music Awards.
Yeah.
Stuff that was pretty fascinating. So it's
he's
got him to pull the guitar out in the studio.
What did he do? He did 3 songs for us
Yeah,
in the end. You twisted his arm
I
for
twisted
3.
his arm, I think. So he got a couple out of his
Yeah.
own, and then I made him sing Chris Stapleton as well.
Yeah, that's right. No, he went all right.
Which was pretty good. So
There was something different.
Fascinating.
Yep.
So then we moved to a cyclist. So we went to the great man Steve Fairless in episode 6.
Yeah, that was was a big story.
It was a big story. It was a funny story because Steve originally when we first touched base, he's like, Simon, I'm a little bit worried. I'm like, why, Steve? And he goes, well, I'm not sure if I could talk for an hour and a half. 2.5 hours later, we had to wind him up a little bit. So, but again, what an unbelievable story. So, competed in the Olympic Games, competed all around the world, and won a world title too at the age of 53 or something. So it was fantastic.
And that's there's a documentary of that on.
There is a doco out there.
Yep. I don't know if you can get it. Can you find it anywhere? Not sure. But
not sure.
If you're interested and you want to see it, have a search and see if you can get hold of it. I watched it beforehand, and you did too. Yeah.
Yeah, I watched it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was
pretty
actually
fascinating.
it was really good.
It was good. So local bloke produced that. Marcus Cobbledick, I think, did that. But that was played on Qantas and everything. It was on the Qantas flights for a long time. So
it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty fascinating. So Steve's a ripper dude and achieved some wonderful things.
Yeah.
Episode 7, we went to a True Crimes, which I love my True Crime, as everyone's known now. So
I think you were a bit excited for that one, I remember.
It was pretty cool. We went to, we interviewed Len Taylor. So Len Taylor was a Vietnam vet and was a dog tracker over there and everything. So loves his dogs and came back into the Victorian Police Force and
spent a long time.
Yeah, was a founding member of the Vic Pole Dog Squad.
Yep.
So did course number 1, which was pretty interesting. So
yeah, it was.
But yeah,
I think I really enjoyed the early years too. Like with what was he, 17?
Yeah, 17 when he joined up and stuff.
And then just the way he talked through it felt like you were there.
Yeah,
it's almost frightening now. Like with you kind of want to drag your own kids in and say, hey.
Yeah, could you imagine our kids going to war at 17? Like,
have a look and listen to this, mate. You're living all right at the moment.
Yeah, couldn't imagine.
But, he was lucky he got home.
The thing that sort of intrigued me a lot is when he was over there and when he came home, the first time he came home, he mentions it that him and his mate stepped off a plane and just, nothing's changed here. It's all the same. Don't these guys know there's a war on overseas? So
that's very true.
That was fascinating to hear and just to get his perspective on the whole thing, it was pretty cool.
He had some pretty funny stories too, Len.
Yeah, it was pretty
ripping around Melbourne, doing some silly things.
Used to shoot the rabbits at the drive-through and stuff. That was pretty cool.
Crashing cars. Hey, I'll tell you one thing. He's good at crashing cars.
Yeah, he crashed a lot.
I reckon I'd have to go back and watch that and make a count.
I reckon he crashed like 5 or 6 of them.
I reckon he's crashed every car he's ever owned.
It was pretty funny.
Yeah,
so
I got a laugh out of that.
Was shooting rabbits in the drive-through and put a bullet through the pillar of the car and everything. That was pretty cool.
No, it's actually that was actually quite entertaining.
How he covered it up was pretty cool too. Yeah. So that was quite funny. So that was certainly great. It's good to get his story and some true crime stuff as well. It's fascinating to hear it direct from the person. So
exactly.
It's great. So then episode 8 we went something completely different. We went to another local superstar, Amanda Garner Costa.
Dancing
with the Stars.
Superstar.
Yeah. And what a career, eh? That
unbelievable. That was mind-blowing. At the age that she was, travelling overseas with no parents and whatnot. Same thing again, just a real eye-opener.
And the dedication she did to the sport, like every weekend.
And the whole family.
Yeah, the whole family.
Yeah.
Danced with her brother for a long time.
It's a very similar story to most of the people that we've had on that are, athletes or whatever. Like back in the early years, there's a lot of support
Whole
from
family's
family and stuff,
dedicated,
which we like, getting into that. But
yeah,
crazy story.
Yeah, and and finally got some recognition. I mean, she competed for Australia as well, but even that was hard. She had to pay her own way to go to represent the country. I was gobsmacked about that. I couldn't believe that. So but then finally got some recognition when she competed in Dancing with the Stars and won it, sort of thing. So a bit of a celebrity there.
Yeah, that's right.
So that was pretty good.
Now she's wrapped up in our hometown again now with the studio. So
the XL Dance Studio. So her and her husband are there now. So. Which is fantastic. So that was very intriguing. I mean, there might be a lot of people out there who aren't dance fans, but it was a great story. So.
Yeah, it's an eye-opener.
And we had some great feedback on that one as well. So and then we went to episode 9. We went to the great man, Don Kilgour.
Don, not to be confused with his twin brother.
That's right. So
it's my favourite question. What mischief did you get up to with the twin?
Yeah, that's right. They did... He did say that he did it on live TV where he just changed his jacket and tie and presented it as his brother, which was pretty funny.
Helped each other out there. But some interesting... He's showing his age a little bit there, getting back to the riding a horse, or one of his mates was riding a horse to school
at the
or something.
birthday party and stuff.
Yeah, there's some...
It was some good stories. But, a guy that came from a small town of Catamatite, 300 people, and...
Give us the list...
Well, he's got a big list
of famous people that he's met or worked with.
Well, he's certainly, as a sports journalist, he was the unofficial spokesperson, I'd say you call it, for Lionel Rose, but interviewed Teddy Whitten, Ron Barassi, I think. So he met the Queen. So little guy.
He's pretty proud of that too.
He is pretty proud of that. Got to go overseas and
he loves it.
See Prince Charles with his big ears and stuff, and meet his mum. So it was quite funny. So it was actually a good story.
Did you tell a joke to the Queen or something, or was that part of the story?
Might have been. You'd have to go back and listen to that one. I can't remember now. So it's but fascinating story. So to meet people like Lionel Rose and stuff, it would have been unbelievable back in those days.
Yeah, absolutely.
That would have been great.
And it was a continuous thing there for a little bit. So
it was, So it was fantastic. So
and
then episode 10, we moved to the local bike man, Lee Egan.
The
Eggman. So that was
he got a bit in depth too.
He did.
Eggman. He enjoyed that. It was it was good. I've known him for quite a while, so it was good to dive in a bit deeper and ask some other questions. But that's first Australian elite men's world champion
in BMX.
In BMX,
fantastic.
And he was only young.
Yeah, I think he was 17, 18 or something like that. But certainly Australian Hall of Fame
and done a lot quite.
And done a lot on the bike since.
Yeah.
So. But an Australian Hall of Fame, and he's also inducted into the Golden Valley City of Greater Shepparton Hall of Fame as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. He's always got a good story though. He has got a story. I reckon he held back on us.
Well, I think he did. He could talk though. We punched over 2 hours, I think, for that story. So
I think if you said you can come in with no filter at all,
that'd be a bit different.
He'd rip a few out, but no.
But touched on some great things, like certainly his his achievements, but also touched on some mental illness stuff as well, so which shook him up a little bit, and
the highs and lows, and which they've all had a little bit here and there. But it's good when they can get a bit honest and
that's right. So a couple of those on the mental illness side, Lee touched on it. I think Len Taylor touched on it a little bit.
Yeah,
mental health issues. Steve Fairless might have touched on it a small little bit. I think someone else did as well. Paul Brown after he was
Paul Brownie.
He was cowed punched from behind, so it's so everyone sort of touched on it. So I think what the general story out of that is that just because it's a guy, we need to talk, sort of thing. And
well, that's what every one of them said.
Yeah, that's right. Need to ask your mate if you're okay.
You got to talk to someone. So
So it was pretty fascinating. So season 1 finished off with 10 episodes. I thought it was pretty cool. I enjoyed myself listening to their stories.
Absolutely.
I loved it. So
Yeah.
it was pretty cool. But season 2's coming out soon.
Now we're excited.
Yeah, we're excited now. So it's,
we've had people knocking on the door now.
Yeah,
after season 1.
We've had a few people, and certainly it's fantastic where listeners who listen to season 1 and the episodes are saying, "Hey, why don't you get such and such on? Why don't you get such and such?"
Yeah.
Because we certainly don't know everyone sort of thing.
No,
but,
there's quite a bit of networking going on now, and a lot of names getting thrown around, and so that's really exciting, and it's a pretty good list.
We've got some big names. So.
And guess what? We got sponsors too.
Oh, we did get some sponsors for season 2. It's fantastic that a couple of businesses have jumped on board with us.
We'll drop those when the time's right.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. But season 2, I'm in my prime. I know we've got a couple of really good true crime ones.
Yep.
We've got an ex-Underworld figure that comes on.
Yep.
That we've teed up. We've got an ex-detective with a local story. So I'm in my prime when it comes to that. I'm stoked. I can't wait.
Yep.
So that should be fascinating. But again, a 3-time Olympian, world champion.
Yeah, no, it's
fascinating stories.
It's a good start.
It's pretty cool. So we can't wait. We've got another couple to do, line up and tee up and get them ready to go. But I can't wait. It should be fantastic.
Yeah, no, I'm excited.
So it should be good. So, Ben, one of the big questions I get from the people who listen is, who would be the 3 people I ask for dinner?
I love this part every time because everyone gets stumped and you just hold it. You hold out.
Yeah, they have to answer.
Just like, I'm not going. Like, everyone's tired and
done,
and you're just going to sit there and stare them down until they give you an answer.
They have to answer.
I just sit here laughing.
Yeah, it's funny. So if you've been listening to the podcast, we ask 3 questions at the end. The first question is, what was your first car? Then what was your favourite food? And then the last one is, if you could invite 3 people to dinner, dead or alive, any era.
Yes.
And it stumps everyone.
Well, that
a couple reel them off.
Invite 3 people to dinner gets everyone.
Yeah. So it's
and then you've probably noticed that most of them start looking around the room at the posters and trying to pick someone just to get out of here because you've had them sitting there for about 3 minutes sweating.
Yeah. Well, one of them said, I won't mention the name. One of them said his fiance, and I said, mate, you're weak as piss.
And you've warned everyone since.
It's funny. So
it is pretty.
So
funny.
that's probably the biggest question I get out of it. Okay, so you're asking them, who would you invite? So who would you invite? Ben?
Are you actually asking me
I'm
now?
going to ask you.
I've said it every episode. I can't. I'm the same as everyone else.
Really?
No, I draw a blank every time.
You're weak as piss.
And then if I answer what I probably really think or feel, you're going to tell me I'm weak as piss again. So I'm just going to let it go. But you're going to have to answer.
Well, I'll answer.
You're in the hot seat now.
I've asked the question. I don't let them.
Yeah.
I don't let them go.
So hang on. I'm going to do what you do.
You can do that. That's fine. So for me, my first one, my love of stories, which is why I wanted to always do a podcast, is my love of stories come from my grandfather. So my grandfather's passed away now at the age of 93, about 10, 15 years ago or something like that.
Yep.
It was about 18 years ago. I could sit down at his kitchen table and I could sit there for, like, lunch would take 3 to 4 hours.
Reeling out the old stories.
Because he would just reel off old stories of being, a woodcutter and what it was like back in the early days. And it was just fascinating and I loved it and I sat there forever. So he would definitely be on my list. Okay. My second one would be my dad.
Yep.
My old man passed away when I was 15. So I think there's untold stories.
Yeah, for sure.
So there was good stories there, but of what he did as a young bloke and stuff like that. And I find it intriguing when old mates of his come into work and I get to sit there and listen to a couple of the old things.
Yeah.
But so that would be my number 2 because I just think there's untold stories.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Now, number 3 is the hard one.
Oh, here we go.
So number 3, I could
it's like Henry VIII or something like you keep telling everyone else.
I've told a few people Henry VIII. But imagine, like, sporting wise, imagine if you could sit down with Muhammad Ali. Like, how good would that be? Muhammad Ali, he probably, it was before.
You'd need a 4-hour lunch.
It would.
Or dinner, whatever you're having.
Muhammad Ali was sort of before the times. Yes, there was cameras around and stuff, but he didn't really get interviewed for long periods of time. But the man could hold conversations in sport. He had the quickest mouth around.
Yeah.
But politics and all that, and he was tied up in a lot of things, and with his religion, and all that sort of stuff. It would be fascinating.
Pretty interesting and pretty deep, I'd imagine.
I always thought sport-wise, Mike Tyson would be great to get, but I reckon I've listened to that many podcasts with Mike Tyson's now, and I don't think I could smoke 15 doobies and eat mushrooms.
I wouldn't be able to understand what he said anyway. And then not ask him too many times, he'd probably smack me.
So I'm not sure I could go there. Could you imagine going back like 2,000 years ago, like King Tut or someone like that? Like the stories you could get. The Egyptians were fantastic, but also I'm a big fan of Australian crime as well. So could you imagine going back to Ned Kelly?
I was going to say that would be...
Like, how good would that be to sit there to listen to
cracking.
Ned Kelly? So, I mean, and some of the stories and how hard it was and everything like that.
Yeah, I could do that
would be fascinating.
So, so now I'm thinking of things that I haven't thought of.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
so, so that would be great. So, like sport-wise,
you're supposed to pick 3, but you've said about 6.
I haven't said my third yet.
Oh, you haven't.
I said, could you imagine talking to these people?
So who is it then?
Well,
who did you decide on?
I reckon I'd go Ned Kelly, my third one.
Yeah, that'd be right.
Just because of the history of it, and how popular it was. And I love going over to Glenrowan and Benalla and going to look at all his old memorabilia and stuff. So I reckon that would be fantastic.
Yeah,
so
I would agree on that.
So that would be my 3. So my grandfather, my dad, and Ned Kelly. So any future guests who are listening, if I ask you this question, you are coming up with 3.
We don't send these out before you come. So
no, that's right. But they should be listening already to season 1, so they should be prepared, ready to go. Same questions, going to go right through season 2. So Ben. So I think it's been fantastic. I love doing what we do. It's great. I love supporting local people and just realising that you don't have to live in the big smoke to achieve some unbelievable things.
No, that's right, and I know that at some point in time we want to spread out beyond the local thing too, but to start with, I think it's been fantastic to give some acknowledgement and some, exposure for some of the people that have been around and achieved some crazy things. Yeah. And, some people might know their names, but they don't know enough of the story. And I just think it's good to get it out there and be quite proud of the people where they come from. And you know what? Most of them are still here.
Well, that's true too.
It's quite, like they might have gone, but they've also come back. And
that's true.
You can walk past them down the street and say good day, and they'll actually stop and talk to you.
Yeah, that's right. We're just country people.
Exactly. That's the bit I love the most. I think that they're just ordinary, regular people, even with a list of achievements or whatnot. Yeah. So
we've also had a little bit of feedback in regards to footballers. So we're thinking we'll do season 2, and then we might do after the footy season, we might do a little.
We might do a mini footy season on its own because there's quite a few that are pretty keen, and we've got reach to. So just so that we can narrow that down to the people that are super interested in the footy. Yeah,
so we might do a mini season of just
that'd be good.
Some footballers.
I'm super keen on that. That should be good.
I reckon we can get a current footballer. I reckon we
might get 1 or 2 currents. Yeah. Not as long a story, obviously, because they've not passed their career yet, but still be really interesting to get something different with a current player.
Got a couple of premiership players lined up. Mm-hmm. So that could be fascinating in itself. Yeah. So, and not just like premiership players that weren't just 1 year sort of thing, like premiership players who have been in top sides. Yeah. And we're not talking that long ago, so we're still younger sort of people. But
it'd be really
pretty
good.
Fascinating.
Absolutely.
I can't wait for that. So, so what I want to say, Ben, is I want to thank everyone for listening and supporting us. I think it's
absolutely
great.
So and to any future new listeners, everyone who has listened, tell your friends.
Yeah, tell your friends. Make sure you go back and listen to season 1 though. It was a cracking season. It was
a lot of people that I've ran into have actually listened to 1 or 2, and then now they've gone back and listened right through.
Yeah, some people have an interest, like if they're interested in cycling or something.
Yeah, that's right.
It's fascinating stories, but then go, cool. I'll go and have a listen to that, and I'll have a listen to that. And their feedback's been fantastic, so it's been great.
Yeah, that's right. And we're on all the podcast favourites.
Yeah, on all the platforms, but we also YouTube as well. So
if you want to see our faces, Or the guests.
The guest face. You probably don't need to look at my face, but
me neither.
So if you go onto YouTube, it's Two Blokes From Down Under. Hit the subscribe button so you'll know they'll come through for you, and it's pretty cool to listen.
Yeah, absolutely.
For those listeners, we do have the big screen up, so we do bring up some footage of some things, so it's good to be able to see it as well.
We're also on the Facebook and Instagram, so if you do, watch one of the episodes that we drop, don't be scared to jump on and throw a comment. Tell us something that you liked, didn't like. Yeah. Give us feedback, or
future guests.
Yeah, throw out some names of people you think that we should be talking to or could be talking to, and which would be good. Or send us a message.
Yeah,
either.
Awesome. All right, Ben. Well, that's a wrap. Season 1. So fantastic. I can't wait for season 2.
Absolutely.
I'm stoked and I'm looking forward to
it.
Yeah,
it's heating up.
Cool. It is. It's pretty cool.
Yep.
So yeah. There you go, gang. Just a wrap for season 1. Thanks for listening. We really appreciate everything, and we can't wait to get into season 2 and everyone to have a listen to see what we've got coming up. So we can't wait for it. So we'll see you soon, and stay tuned. Look out for social medias and stuff where we drop it, and check your podcasts and everything. Make sure you click follow on your podcast so they pop up instantly and they come through. Make sure you subscribe at YouTube and everything, and I hope everyone's enjoying it. So we'll see you for season 2.
See you then.
Thanks, guys. See ya.
2021. Yeah, show them I can still rap though. Now I'm in the game, I was on the bench. First I was renting, now I'm collecting rent. Run it up. First it with the Beamer, now I want the Benz. Spending all the bag like I go again.